I'm going 4 inches. That should give me a good height. So to get this cut, all I did was do 4 inches and 4 inches, and this could lap like this, or I could have cut it here and have it lap the other way. But I just mirrored that on this side. That one's easy. This one's a little different. So once I got this, I know my shower pan, the bottom of the floor where the floor meets the wall is here. So I took this measurement, which was 30 inches from the wall to the curb, and I went from this point here, because I know this is where the wall and the floor meet, and I did 30 inches over to here, and it's the same cut here. It's 4 inches down, and it's 30 from this point to the other one. And then this little flap's a little different. So this is the height of the curb itself off of the floor. So I got 2 inches. So what I did is I went 2 inches there, and then made another slit so that when this fits in, this is going to tuck back behind here just like this one, but it's going to allow the curb to flap over. And so I'll probably end up putting a preformed corner on the top of the curb there. So that's how I got that. So I made all these measurements out and cut it all, pre-cut it, so we're going to see how that works. So this is the Ultraflex RS. Probably would have been smart for me to mark 4 inches up the wall too, but I didn't. Hardy backer on the top is just for strength, probably good for point load distribution. Okay, so I'm going to start in the corner. The lines on the curdy make it nice because you can kind of use it as a gauge for square. So look, I can kind of use this line like this. Actually, this dark line should be about where my floor and wall meet. So I can kind of use that to get everything where I need to be. Number 2 is you have to make everything a little bit long. Like when I measured and made my cuts, I'm a little short, and I think that's from the slope on the curdy. So yeah, you want to work from the inside out on all of this stuff. Work your way into the corners. And careful with a hard trowel like this. Squeezing out all the thin set from the center to the edges. But it was really important for me to get this lined up here and square before I started doing this, because once you do this, it's down. It's not going to want to move. So it's real easy to miss the air bubbles too. And then, like, I can feel some bits of sand under here from the deck mud. You gotta be careful not to poke through those. Like, I can actually feel those. Since we're going over, that's one of the reasons I like to go over the 8+9. It's just an added layer of security there. So I'd rather have a little too much thin set underneath it and then squeeze it towards the sides. I feel better about that than not having enough thin set coverage on the bottom. Okay, again, I'm going to be real careful with the sharp trowel not to poke it into the sides here. You know, one of those plastic drywall knives, those little cheapies, would probably be good for this stuff. Or a nice rounded margin trowel, so you don't dig in. But we have good coverage on the Curdy. And then while I'm doing that, I might as well do this, because for the overlap, see, here's my line. So it looks like you need to cut your Curdy about a good ½ inch longer than what you measure, to allow for the radius. Gosh, why are my hands so black? So I measure, you know, if you measure 60 from wall to wall, cut your crease at 60½, because it looks like it came up short there from, and I think it's the radius and the slope on the floor and everything. But yeah, you can kind of work your Curdy into the corners. Get a nice square corner. Actually, this reminds me of the hot mop video that I did. Kind of the same techniques he was using. Stuff down. Okay, so I came up a little short here, so I'm just gonna, you probably need your knife for little adjustments like that. There we go. Trying to make your corners nice and square. So I think the last thing I need to do, I'm gonna kind of, like I said, put a fresh coat on there. Again, because the hardy backer just sucks all the moisture out. Might not get a good bond, so I'm putting another coat while I'm putting the mud on the face of the curb. Yeah, why don't you get this too?
Yeah.
Okay. You shooting it? Okay. Yeah, maybe it's a good idea to sponge everything off so you can see where you're at, and then you're not spreading more thin set around with your flat trowel. So there's always a little room, at the little radiuses to push thin set to. So just push the mud to those corners and just kind of let it sit there. It's probably good to have a little thin set in the radius to support the curdy anyways. Okay, yeah, I like to cut it back, then I can make sure I have a good bond where it's needed most. This is probably the most important connection on the whole shower. I don't think we need any inside corners. But right here, I think we could benefit from the two outside corners on there, because I've seen more rot from showers right here than in any other place in the shower. That guy's gonna fit just like that. So yeah, I think that's a good idea for that outside corner. Helps to put a little slit at the end of that, because usually you end up with a little bubble right there. You see this little bubble? Seems like no matter what you do to flatten that out, it always wants to stay there. So So if you put a little slit there, it tends to help. I like that. Okay. All done. The only other places I think we need Kerdi is in the corners, and I'm just going to go up to about here. So we'll do a corner band there, a corner band there. We should probably fill that seam with the Kerdi band, and then also we'll do a Kerdi band here, do here, might as well do here and here. And we'll draw a line with the outside of the curb so we don't lap our Kerdi band over it. We'll stay inside. And then once our Kerdi band is up, then we'll go with 8+9. And with these niches, so what I did here is I just put Kerdi Fix in here. So this is all sealed up already. But what I'd probably do in the future is take a piece of dent shield and put that in the back first. And you can just glue it in there with dollop so you don't put any screws, because this is the drywall to the other room. And then that'll be pinned in, then you could caulk it all in, and then that would be completely sealed and waterproof. But since this is drywall, now we're going to have to go over it with 8+9 or something to waterproof it. So I'll probably end up putting 8+9 over the whole niche in here. And then we got to make sure that we lap that 8+9 over to cover the exposed drywall too on the dent shield. So that's that. Alright, so we did the band in the corners and then at our seams in the dent shield. We did the 8+9 in the niche. So that's completely sealed and waterproofed. Our pan, we went up about 8 to 10 inches, completely sealed and waterproofed. Again, what I like about using Ardex 8+9 cementitious product is that it bonds to this thinset's not even cured, but it bonds to that because it has cement. It's a cementitious product. So you wouldn't want to put Red Guard over thinset that's not cured. You wouldn't want to put Hydroban over that. I like to be able to get on this right away, so we just have one good coat down here over the top of our Kerdi. You can see everything sealed up real good. This dries in about 30 minutes, so it's already starting to dry. And it took us, we got here at, we started waterproofing probably about 8 o'clock. It's now 10:30, so we got all of this done in about 2.5 hours. So there's no need to go over 8+9 up here. I think that would be total overkill. But down on the pan below, I definitely like that second layer of waterproofing on top of the Kerdi. Plus what the 8+9 does is once it dries, it's real durable. You can't, like as you're moving around on it and stuff, it has, you know, I just feel a lot safer with it as having the 8+9. And so we're going to float a mortar bed over this. Technically you could set tile right to this, but again, what I don't like about sheet membrane is you end up with these overlaps, and we have about 1/8 inch of buildup in the corners that we'd be fighting. If we go over this with the mortar bed, it makes the walls completely flat on top of the waterproofing, as opposed to putting sheets of stuff and then having to deal with that while you're setting. So we're not going to do anything else to the pan. The pan is done. That's ready for tile. But our 3 walls here, we're going to float. And I'm going to leave the curb like this. We'll set right to the curb. So this is about ready to go. Again, the 8+9, if we got a fan on it, it would probably dry and be ready to work on. But you're supposed to technically do a water test on it too. So it says it's ready to water test in 4 hours, I believe. So at the end of the day, we could fill this up and get our water test going. But this is I feel really good about this system, and it's probably going to be protocol for the rest of our showers.